Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Dr. Apple. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it.
Thanks.
Um, it's hard to know what to say. It's been kind of a heavy week, I guess. It was my brother Stephen. It was his birthday on the 30th, and my family usually celebrates,
I see.
but I don't usually celebrate with them. And I was thinking of going, and I don't know, because of the pandemic, I decided not to, but I don't know, if I'm really honest with myself, I don't know if it was just the pandemic. I don't think I really wanted to be there.
How come?
I don't know if he was still here. I don't know if he'd want me there.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't know.
How did you react to his birthday anniversary, if you like?
I felt a little numb, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Can you say more about that?
I just think that I don't even really know how I feel. I mean, like, I feel a lot of the times, like on his birthday, I feel really sad. And other times I just feel really numb, and I feel like I don't deserve to be there.
So
Because
maybe I'll just interrupt you there for a minute, maybe because I don't know too much about the circumstances of his death. Maybe you could fill that in for me.
Yeah. So Stephen was 3.5 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a heart condition. And it was actually the same condition that the heart condition that my dad had. And we didn't know at the time with my dad, but we found out first with my brother. We found out, well, I wasn't there when he was born, but my parents found out when he was born, or shortly after he was born, because he was quite pale and blue at times. It was really, from what they talked about, it was quite scary for them at the time, and they didn't know if he was going to survive. He got a couple surgeries.
Yeah.
I remember when I was really, really little, being at the hospital, sitting in the waiting room overnight with my parents and eating chips and stuff. And,
Yeah.
so he had this, like, he had problems with the muscles in his heart. And he, everything he did made him really tired. And, he, I just remember him always looking so pale and so exhausted. And my dad was, I don't know if he was putting up like a front or whatever, but he usually seemed pretty relaxed about it and usually be able to enjoy the time that he had with him. But my mom was really obviously it was her child. She was so invested, but she was always quite anxious about him getting the right food or not,
Mhm.
doing too much. And um, I was a really like boisterous kind of child.
Mhm.
Um, I was a little bit of a troublemaker at times, and I didn't understand why he couldn't do the things that I could do. Like of course now, like I look back and I feel like of course it's not fair that like he couldn't do everything that I could do, but I didn't see it that way. Like I just saw it like, um, why is he holding me back from doing the things I want to do? Like from like if I wanted to go to the park and I wanted to go to the swings, like why couldn't my mom take me and stuff?
So what emotion that's causing a lot of emotion to come up? Very difficult situation. Can you tell me what that's about?
I just feel selfish
Selfish.
because I didn't understand time and how time works.
Hmm.
When you're little, you think that time is infinite, right? You think
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to be a kid forever, but you feel like you have so much time, and you feel like your parents are always going to be like they're always going to be there. Like you don't think of when your parents aren't going to be there, and you certainly don't think of when your brother isn't going to be there. And I just spent so much time like complaining about the things that I didn't get to do because of him. And I remember getting so angry with him and saying it's not fair. Like you get all of you get so much of mom's time, and like I don't even understand. Like we can't go to the park. We can't go for hikes because of you. Like
So you had a lot of resentment towards him, and you were how old at the time?
I was, like 5 or 6, and he died when I was 8.
Mhm.
Um,
So you resented him because the family couldn't do things you wanted to do together. Your parents had to spend a lot of time with him, being so ill. So what's that feeling of resentment like, or what was it like at that time?
I was so angry. I just spent so much. I didn't understand why like other
Hmm.
families could do all these things together, and I just had to like entertain myself. I didn't
Hmm.
like. I just felt like this just totally wasn't fair,
Hmm.
and I felt like he had this really close relationship with my mom that like I didn't have unless like I do have a good relationship with my mom, and she's always there for me when I'm in a crisis, but like it has to get to the point where it's a crisis. Like I could
Hmm.
never spend time with her in a way that wasn't like frenetic or like wasn't urgent. Um yeah.
So did you feel displaced or overlooked?
Oh yeah.
And is that a feeling that still persists with you at times?
Yeah.
Can you give me any examples of that, situations?
Well, I mean, school was tough, and like I had my own challenges, and like my dad couldn't be around, but my mom was the primary parent, and um, I had a lot of issues like concentrating in school and staying out of trouble, and um, it was like my teachers just didn't my brother and I went to the same school, and even my teachers are always asking me about my brother.
Oh,
And I think, like, I just felt like I was the bad kid. And if I'd gone to a different school, like, maybe someone would have noticed that I was struggling.
so you went to school and something similar was happening in school that was happening at home, that you were sort of being overlooked or displaced because of your brother's illness. The focus was on him, so it made you feel perhaps left out or unloved or unwanted.
It made me feel unimportant, made me
Unimportant.
unimportant, and it made me feel lonely.
Hmm.
Definitely excluded.
Excluded.
Yeah.
And is that feeling of exclusion, does that still apply in your current relationships or at work or at home?
Mm. I definitely There are times when Tom is, pretty reasonable guy.
Hmm.
He's really, um,
Your husband, Tom.
mhm,
Yeah.
really kind, and he's, like, normally very attentive and sweet, but there's times where I just feel like it's just not like, I'm not getting enough, and I don't know if he could do enough. Like, I feel like it's just this, like, emptiness, like, this loneliness, and I don't think he can necessarily, like, fill it. I think it's just always gonna be there because I don't think I can make up for, like, all the time I spent alone and the time that I lost.
So I'm getting a sense of a lot of deep, deep pain here, and the sense of being excluded, overlooked, that started for obvious reasons, but that may have persisted in your view of yourself as somebody who gets excluded.
Yeah.
And why would it be that you people would exclude you? What have you done to deserve this?
I'm not. Like, I'm not empathetic enough. I don't
Have you done some terrible things? Have you done something wrong?
I do feel guilty. I feel like all the time that I spent fighting and arguing and just, like, making Steven feel bad. Like, it wasn't fair. Like, I just wasted so much time, and I just feel like I was, like, a drain on everyone.
So there's a lot of guilt too.
Like, instead of just going with the flow, like, I had to be a drain. Like, I was just a drain. I feel like I just yeah.
So you feel that you caused some negative effects within the family, a drain that you were detracting from his needs because you were, I suppose, angry that you weren't getting the same response,
Exactly.
particularly from your parents. And you mentioned the word selfish. You feel that you were selfish, or you just still feel that you're selfish for having these wishes?
I don't know. I sometimes I feel like this, like, needy or selfish person.
Hmm. And how does that affect you in your current relationships? This view of yourself as being selfish or needy?
Yeah, well, I try really hard not to be.
Mhm.
Like, I try really hard, um, to be as generous as I can with other people and, like, not to think too much about, like, I'm always thinking about whether I seem needy, I think, on some level.
Okay, so I just want to pause there for a minute just to summarize what we're talking about. So what you're saying is the death of your brother and his illness led to you feeling excluded, displaced, and then later on feelings of maybe you were selfish and that you drained the family, so feelings of guilt. And these feelings affect your view of yourself as perhaps a selfish person, and that in turn may impact your relationship with people in the present time that maybe you're not deserving because of your feelings of guilt. So in this kind of therapy, we call that your sort of relational theme. It's the pattern of your relationships, the way you see yourself and the way you see other people. And the two things are obviously complementary.
Mm.
If you feel that you're selfish or deserving of being excluded, you may perceive others in other situations unconsciously as rejecting or excluding you, even when it may not, in fact, be the case. So this is looking at a central theme in your life, which emerges from your early childhood. So I'll be referring to that in future sessions, pointing out how some of your current patterns and relationships reflect the same theme. We will also want to deal with the emotions behind it, particularly your self-critical feelings leading to negative emotions, feelings of guilt, feelings of sadness and isolation. So those are things that will come up in future sessions. So going to finish up for today. Any reactions to today's meeting?
I guess I wonder a little bit if you knew more about the situation or if you had watched me growing up, like whether you would think I was selfish.
So you want to know if I would think that you were selfish if I knew more about the situation. So did you get that sense from me, or have you got that sense that I perceive you as selfish after what you told me?
I just had this like feeling. I don't know if it was anything you did or said, but I just,
Okay, so you are experiencing that feeling, and we'll have to see whether that changes as we talk more and process these feelings. But clearly, we might say that your response to me is, if you like, a transference reaction. It's having the same feeling towards me as you have had to other people, particularly key people growing up. And this is often something that arises in therapy, which is useful because it helps us identify it and explore it and work it through. So I'm sure that will come up again. Okay, so we'll see you next week.
thanks, Dr. Apple.
Bye now.